how comfortable I feel, even though I said that a wheel on a baby carriage, if anything, is more mutter because a lot of them move around. I don't know how comfortable I feel doing that, being that it's not something that's done every day. Okay, but the limitzchus, I mean, you still don't have maybe the graz, etc. So limitzchus. It's interesting. On Shabbos, I got out of Shiur. It's a peldik maisi. You know, I could learn baina all these years, and you know, it's a mamsha Shiur. I have a broom on Shabbos, and I was sweeping. I was sweeping the floor. You know, like it says in the Shulchan Aruch and Shin Lamed Zayin, that you're allowed to sweep the floor on Shabbos. It says you're allowed to sweep the floor on Shabbos. Whole concept meiser. Oh, thank you. So you know, and not only that, it says in the Shulchan Aruch, it's Shin Lamed Zayin, that it's Shiur says that it's ultimately the tzarich einik Shabbos, covered Shabbos. It's mamash like a mitzvah. It's almost a mitzvah to sweep the floor on Shabbos. There was sweeping the floor, and as I was sweeping the floor, I realized that the broom and the handle, the broom and the stick, the broom and the handle they're not so tight. They're not so tight. Now I would never, I'm a religious Jew. I would never screw it in. I would never do such a thing. I'm a religious Jew. I would never do such a thing on Shabbos, no matter what. And I'll tell you also, Mistama, it's going to make it. It was okay, you know, it was okay. But then I realized, wait a minute, that Gemara that we spoke about in Shabbos Daf Mem Zayin, the Gemara goes right there. And let me read you what the Shulchan Aruch brings about this Gemara. In Reish Ayin Tes Siv Zayin, Shulchan Aruch says like this. Listen to the Shulchan Aruch. Menorah, menorah ben gedoyla ben ketana. If you have a menorah, some type of a candelabra or something that has parts, imi shel prakim ein metaltel inoisa. You're not allowed on Shabbos to take a candelabra, some type of a light or something, and you're not allowed to even move it around. Forget that you're not allowed to screw it in. Of course you can't screw it in. But if you have a menorah that has parts, it's basically any kli that you have that is made of parts. So the halacha is you're not allowed to move it around. Why are you allowed to move it around? Because people, you're afraid if you have a broom, not a broom, I'm saying, but if you have a menorah, if you have a candelabra, and this candelabra falls apart, because it's made of parts. So what's going to happen? It's going to fall on the floor. Now, what happens when it falls on the floor? Because you moved it around, so it falls on the floor. It falls on the floor, so just pick it up. The floor and it breaks. Okay, so it just breaks, and now it's just stamuk, so you're going to leave it there. But here you have an item that's going to fall on the floor, and it has two parts. What's going to happen? Now you're going to say gevalt, and you're going to go and put it back together. That was this menorah shel prakim. It's a Gemara. It's not a Gemara. The Gemara says you're not allowed to move around the menorah shel prakim because it might fall. But this barig, you're going to put it back together. V'nimsa oisa keli. And to kum tais, you're going to make a kli. What do you mean oisa kli? Ain't binyan b'kelim. It's not the first time. Okay, but obviously it means you're going to be takeya. You're going to put it back stark, and when you put it back stark, so you can go from binyan b'kelim. And not only that, even if it's initial prakim, so then it could be they made exera or two. Okay, that's already a whole mice over here. So Mamsha Mishabura by us in Shinyu Gimel, Mishabura asks a Pella. That's the Shulchan Aruch and Reish Ayin Tes. Mishabura by us, since you've got Memei, he has a kasha. I mean, listen to Mishabura's kasha. Mishabura says. He says, where's Mishabura? He says, Vafilu Kalim, because he's talking over here about Kisa Kalim and things like that, and he gave his great head to the Mishabura on Kisa Kalim. So Mishabura says, Vafilu Kalim sha'asal afarkin lachaziran. Listen to this, Maisa. Mishabura says, Vafilu Kalim, anytime that he has a kasha, how come Simon Shin Yud Gimel Sivav is not a direct stira to Simon Reish Ayin Test? Reish Ayin Test Steve Zayin, it says if you have kalim that are dismantleable kalim that come apart, so you're not even allowed to carry them because they might fall, and then you'll put them back together again, bitkiya, and you'll be Ivan Binyan. By us, that was the whole sugi over here, the ganze sugi over here. You're not allowed to put together things when it's tekeya. You're not allowed to put it together when it's hiddik. You're not allowed to put it together when it's roughly, that sometimes is the derech to do tekeya. Okay, but al kapanim, it doesn't say anywhere you're not allowed to carry it around. Doesn't say anywhere you're not allowed to carry it around. If you have something that's already takua, it doesn't say anywhere you're not allowed to carry it around. It says that if it's apart, you're not allowed to put it back together again. But over there it says you're not even allowed to carry because we're afraid it's going to fall on the floor and it's going to break, and then you're going to come to put it back together. So listen to the Mishabura. Mishabura says, even the ones that we say you're not allowed, it's not muksam. Why not? But listen to this. No, they only made exera by menorah. Okay. It's only by a menorah that the menorah is something, it's the derech for it to fall apart. It's like a normal thing for the menorah to fall apart. Does anybody know why? Why is it normal for it to fall apart? I mean, Madashach, it's tight enough that if you put it together, it's a tekiah, right? So what's the shot that it falls apart? What? No, but it falls apart like it went, what? Sorry? No, Mamash, it's a big pella. No, it's a big kasha. No, anybody know what the answer is, kashas? No, it's a big kasha. It falls apart. No, here, what does it say over there? It says in Shulchan Aruch, Reish Ein Tes. 1 second. Menorah bein b'gdayla, im yishal prakim et chashin Hashem atipa. It's not the pshat that we're afraid you're going to take it apart. We're afraid it's going to fall on the floor and break apart on its own. What? So it breaks it. So it's mamash menorah tikachiddush. No, it comes out that you can have things that when you put them together, you put them very, very tight, and it's tekiah. But when they fall on the floor, they come apart on their own. Could you give me an example of such a thing? Anybody have an example? That's obviously I'm getting to. What? I don't know. Maybe like Lego. Who just said that? Who just said Lego? What? Maybe like Lego. I don't know. Lego is something that like Taka is. We'll see. There are certain Legos which are tight. Certain Legos which are tight, and it sounds like over here. No, but it's a big pebble. It's not tekiah tight. You have anything that's tekiah tight, and then it falls on the floor and breaks apart. I couldn't think of a case. It's a very hard thing like that, but that's what he says here. Anyways, so Shiur goes on. Maybe you have a case. Maybe I'm just pretending. But upon him, excuse me. It's not the derech for it to fall apart. It's not a problem of tilta. No. So before we begin, or let's begin. What about a broomstick on Shabbos? No. My broomstick, let's say. I'm not talking about yours. Maybe you got a new one and it's all screwed in, and it's all tight, and it's all whatever, right? But let's say my broomstick, Kanir is already holding at a point of where it needs a refuah shlema. I mean, you see already it's not doing so great, right? So now this broomstick, it's definitely normal. Like when, I think it's even more of a common claimer. It's not when it falls. It's as you're going to be using it, it's probably a normal thing that it can come off. That's anybody knows what I'm talking about. When you're at that stage of the broomstick's life, and when you're at that stage, what are you going to do? You're going to certainly put it back in, and you certainly allul to do either hiddik or tekiah or something like that, right? So it comes out gefein l'chapel dikamaisa. It comes out. Forget. We know for sure you're not allowed to put it in rafi gzeira shem. You might put it in tekiah. Okay, but I think it's even more. The you can't use the broom at all. Any broom that's in this massive, one second. Any broom that's in this massive, the shouldn't be allowed to use it. It shouldn't be even allowed to be metaltal. No, it's mamash apel dikamaisa. What? No, they made a gzeira. Chazal made it nothing to do with muksa. No, this is not like Rabbi says it's not ilchus muksa. Chazal made a gzeira that if you have something that it's normal for it to fall apart, and the normal after it falls apart is you put it back together in an oifin that's aser. I don't even know what this menorah shel prakim was. I don't know what a menorah shel prakim is, but this is for sure worse. I don't know what a menorah shel prakim is, but this is for sure worse. It's 10 times more chance it's going to fall apart, and it's 10 times more chance you're going to put it back together by tekeya. What? So of course it's dark. I'm talking about a broom like I was talking about. Maybe your broom is not like mine. My broom was loose and it was out as a type of broom that during a week it's normal for a person to fix. Sorry? But I say not always is every question I have. A lot of times I ask it in a way where maybe I'm trying to show that there might be a hat there, right? Not everything is mutter and not everything is aser. It not depends on the way I'm asking. In this case, it's barer, it's aser. It's not even a shayla, it's a first gemara. It's menorah shel prakim. On the spot, I put it down. I'm not taking a chance. I realized right away, I started saying like, Jussi, maybe it's muksa biyadai. It's not muksa biyadai, there's nothing to do with muksa biyadai. They make chazal made nisa tiltal. I didn't even know what to do. You drop it right away. Like that. I don't know if it has the regular guitar. Then I figured it's going to probably break and whatever. So I don't know what to do. Huh? No, it's like I calmly put it in the side, but I'm not sure. Maybe I should have just, I don't know. I don't know. Like that. You have an answer why it shouldn't be. Yeah, what? You just made it worse, not better. It's kalchaimer. Yeah, no, but here the point is like it's half broken and whatever. No, meaning a regular broomstick when you buy it on the first time, it works and it doesn't break. It takes a while after it breaks and whatever. So I don't know if that's a menorah shel prakim, but my case is about the menorah shel prakim. We're at that point where it's like, time to get a new broomstick massive. We're at that point where it keeps on falling. It lasts for like a week and then it falls out and whatever. What? Why is that called tekiah? So first of all, you see here by menorah shel prakim, you can have something that when it's tight, it's mamish tight. Afal pikin, it's normal that it falls off. and falls apart. So here, I did it Motzei Shabbos. When you wedge it, it goes there, it gets very, very strong. No, it's like a screw. It goes very strong. But the Maisa, after a week, Kanira, the shreif is like a bit schwach. That's what happens after a week of hitting it back. If we would hit you also after a week, you get schwach. That's how it gets us, right? After a week, it gets schwach. That's how it goes. No, but it's mamish pelitic Maisa. Nobody realized this. No, we learned all of Moks and all of Bain, and nobody got this. Right? What? What does he say? He says also. Seems like it. Sorry? That's the only thing I was thinking. The only thing I was thinking, and especially my shreif, I think my shreif is half broken. I don't know if my shreif you can consider a tekiah. I did it and it is tight. It is tight. And then I just started hitting it around. Like I want to see like how this happens, right? You hit it. I hit it for a few minutes, like against the wall, a few minutes. And then you see it's soft. It's schwach already, which means that normal people don't sweep like that. But after a week of it getting knocked, that's probably what happens with Mela. It could be that itself is like, that could be, I believe him in saying maybe that's not called tekiah. Maybe, which I hear, maybe that would be called hiddik, which you can imagine, not so clear, but I could hear it. Once it's only hiddik is only drabanan. Once it's only drabanan, maybe Menorish Prakim, the whole gzera was atu, because you'll come to do a deraisa. That I don't have a raya that they made a gzeras Menorish Prakim on something that you're going to come to do a drabanan. And then you look in the Reishayin test, that's the one place you could maybe don over here, that any broom which is like so broken, but why is it not tekiah? Which way are you asking? No, it's definitely hiddig. It's tight. It's definitely some level of tight. It's not roughly. It's not misnanea bachor. It's not misnanea. What? Because tekiah, the pshat is that you have to have gvura and umnus to take it apart. Here, anything that I just sweep it around for a few days, we'll call it. It's really for a few minutes when I knock it, right? That already is not called gvura v'umnus. Sorry? No, there has to be something that no one is mesiaches to the chibur of this broom as gvura v'umnus, right? Again, when we're trying to touch up, is there a oneness? The oneness was upgetouched if I would require gvura and umnus to put it together, to take it apart. No one's going to say on this broom that I'm discussing any gvura and umnus. That for sure, I think. Right? You look at the Mishnah Berurah here. He says, "Chashin Hashem etipo v'tispark v'yachzerena v'nimtza oisikli." Nimtza oisikli. Mishnah Berurah says, if it's dark, okay, that's the question over here is basically usually spices for tekiah. Oisikli. I must tell you, that was the only tzad that I had that maybe such a thing as mutter. Sorry. Excuse me. Now, it seems to be Menorish Prakim. They also use the Erev Shabbos. It's bara. The Menorish Prakim was a full menorah. Right. No, you see, it's anything that's a derech to fall apart. We're afraid it'll fall apart. It's a new gzeira. So what? So what? The menorah fell apart 30 times already. It's called Darkel Sparik. The menorah also fell apart 30 times. Every day this menorah falls apart. It's bar. Sorry? The broom is going to fall apart. No, the broom is going to fall apart. No, I just did. No. Let's see. Take this here. Give it to another. Maybe this will help him. Right? Let's see. I did it in order to show. I didn't start whacking it against the wall. Right? I just hit it around the wall just to see how fast it happens. When you hit it against the wall, that shows you that over the course of 3 days of using a broom, that's probably what happens. And that's what my wife said also. Every few days you have to screw it in, and that's it. It's not a kapanim, right? Sorry, this is not my yichatimtza of the oilam like buying their shkoila present, a broom. Dafnish, right? We already bought one this morning. Okay, don't enough. Kanuksha. My wife told my wife we can't use the broom anymore on Shabbos. There was one already in the house. It says Kavod Shabbos Kodesh on it. Okay. Now, let me get back. So I was thinking like this. So right away, Mendy says, what about Lego? I was thinking that tachlis once and for all. What's the matter with Lego? That's a very difficult week for Chamshi, I say. Who else seems to play with Lego? That's why it took you so long to get back, because you knew over there you could play Lego, right? Yeah. So what's Lamaisa? So I was thinking, Rabbi say, if we're going to ask Lego, it's going to come out of Mordik Chumrah. If you're going to ask Lego, it'll come out maybe that there's one thing you won't be allowed to make Lego. Okay, let's see. Right? Then there'll be another thing. And Lego is for sure Menorish Prakim. Zikha falls apart, right? So come dice. If you're going to ask it making Lego, so now the kid says to you, Tak, could you play with me Lego? You say, no, I'm sorry, I'm a religious man, I can't play Lego and whatever. And what am I? No, it's okay, don't worry about it. So then the son he says to you, no, Chach, could you do me a favor? I'm afraid to bring it from this room to that room because I don't want it to break, and I want to show mommy what I made. So could you at least carry it for me? You could just carry it so I could show mommy. And you tell him, no, I'm not even allowed to carry it for you. Imagine how terrible that is for chinuch, right? You can't even carry. I spent the whole Shabbos afternoon making this, and I want to make you proud of me and this. And now you tell him, no, it has to stay over here, and I can't carry it. Imagine how distraught he's. And then what happens worse? Now you say, okay, I can't carry it. So he says, look, Mr. if I'm allowed to carry it, vice versa, there's different dinim for children and goyim and animals and whatever. So Mela, he says, okay, so I'll carry it. He carries it in to mommy. As he's coming in, boom, he trips. It's like, boom, it's all on the floor and it breaks. And now he starts crying. What kind of father are you? Right? No, mamish, and he says, Tati, why couldn't you just carry it? Right? It could be traumatic. No, am I getting into the story a little too much? No, so Tachlis, no, David, what do you say? You're about to cry, no? Am I shy? Okay, so I say like this. So now we have to mamish matter it because it could cause mamish incredible damage and everything. And then your kids will come to me and learn Yeshiva and Eretz Yisrael, and they'll be all weird and everything. I won't be able to fix them. No, you know what I'm saying? It's something that I probably shouldn't say in public. So you look in the Shmir Shabbos. Unbelievable, mamish unbelievable. Let's go once and for all. What's lemaisa? We spent already 2 weeks on buying it. What lemaisa is the din of Lego? You see the Shmir Shabbos Kilchaza in Tez Zayin Yud Zayin. He says Lego is tekiah. You hear this? He learns it's tekiah. He learns it. I don't know how he makes like a blanket statement like that because there are Legos that are, no, he doesn't mean the baby Lego and stuff, but even within the other Lego, it just shows you how not mugdar it is. What is this? I don't know, could you say that you need gvura and umness to take apart the Lego? It's true, we had like one piece that time, remember? And Mamish couldn't get that piece off. Mamish couldn't get that piece. If you take that piece and throw it hard against the floor, it's not coming apart. No, I hear a little bit the concept. What? That is some of the Tuplo and all that, they say is like roughly, and I mean, that's what you're still holding. Yeah. So Mistama, they say that's like roughly. Even he says. What? We're getting there. Naftali, we're getting there. I see. It's very new. I see. So now the Maisa, he says it's Tkir, but he says you're not allowed to play Lego and Shabbos. And not only that, now everything. Now if the kid plays Lego, back to the whole psychology story, the whole story again, that the kid comes and he tells you, Tati, I can't carry it, and then he trips and he falls, and then he blames it the rest of his life and doesn't. Who needs that? That's what should come out, right? Because it's definitely darker lispari, and then I guess it's darker to put it back together again. Unless you say a chiddush, that maybe it's not the derech, once it falls, to put this thing back together again. Meaning a menorah shel prakim is the derech, that once it falls, you put it back together again. Mashing over here, once it falls, maybe it's not the derech to put it back together. But is that so pashut? I don't know. It depends what the kid. It depends how guilty you feel. Well, it depends how broke, right? Yeah, it's true. No, it's anything that when it falls breaks apart. Of course, when the Lego falls, it breaks apart. That's what it means. It doesn't mean normal to fall. Nothing's normal to fall. It's something the menorah shel prakim is also not normal to fall. It's only anything that when it falls, it's normal that it breaks apart. So Chazal made this gzeira. So Lego zichud, no question in the world. When it falls apart, it breaks apart. So I don't know. What? No, but anyways, like he's saying, it depends how it broke. Sometimes it breaks a little bit, and you will put it back together. These are all like, if I say, at that level, we'll say like plug already, nobody's gonna, okay, so I don't know. The Maisa, what went on in this room is to aser Lego, not pasha. Let's go one by one. Let's see all the stars once and for all. Tachlis Geret and the Lego, and let's see. First of all, maybe it's Kisa Kalim. What's the lumdis of Kisa Kalim? Kisa Kalim we saw is mutter because it's made to be opened and closed. But what's the lumdis of Kisa Kalim? Okay, this is definitely, Lego is something which is definitely made to be opened and closed. The Chazon Ish says a nusach. The Chazon Ish says, listen to this nusach, I like the nusach. Anything that the derech of the tashmishai, derech of its usage, is mechayev a piruk. The derech of its usage is mechayev you to take it apart. Then that shows it was not one. In other words, when you take a bottle cap and you put it onto a bottle, the derech is that it's mechayev. That shimush is mechayev a taking apart. It's mechayev you to dismantle it. Otherwise, you won't be able to use the item. So let's say by Lego, again, most normal Lego, the person is not making it to keep up and whatever. Let's say your Lego you bought for that purpose to play with the Lego. So then the derech tashmishay is mechayev a piruk. The derech of it is mechayev that you take it apart. Otherwise, nachamol you have broken Lego. That's one svara that came out here. Another svara that came out here is the grass, something that's not meant to last. But derech klal, that one's a little bit totally. Each person can feel mashahu if it's, do they keep it up week to week? Depends. Some kids, they only play Lego on Shabbos, and then okay. But that's only like b'mikra kach, Rabbi said, if you think about it, right? He broke it apart 5 times on Shabbos. It's like the bottle that you close of the grape juice on Motzei Shabbos and you leave it closed for the whole entire week. It's b'mikra kach, right? Another svar you could dan. Another svar that you could dan b'chlal is, I don't know, that which he says that Lego is takua. There's something here which sounds to me extremely mechodesh. To say that requires gvura and umnus to take apart, even on the ones that are the hardest one, right? Just a moment. Even the one that's the hardest one. We're going in the Torah of how you're mesiaches to something. How do I look at something? When I see this thing together, do I see a oneness? Do I see a oneness? And it's such a oneness because it requires a gvura and an umnus to put it together and take it apart. Maybe, let's go one by one. It's called an umnus to take it apart. You need a skill to take it apart. You just need to get in there somehow. You got to get a grip, the kitzah, right? You have to figure out a way to get in there. And once you get there, it comes off with great ease. I'm not sure. I can hear it's hiddik. The gvur and umnus is das. Gvur and umnus. What? No, we saw there were some pieces. I'm even talking about the one. There were some pieces where when you put it exactly one on the other, it was so tight you really couldn't get it. The flat ones, the flat. No. There were some parents that weren't able to. I'm just, Rabbi, again, what I'm trying to tell the oilam, Rabbi said, what I'm trying to tell the oilam is that when in Boina, you have a leeway to dan on a stackless adam, on how people look at things. That's the whole Boina that you've been learning. When do I see something is one? By Karka, it's roughly. By Kalim, it has to be a oneness that requires a gvur and umness. That means I'm not looking at, even in the practical, is it very difficult? It doesn't say in the Paiskim, if it's very difficult to be mechaber and to be mitparek. It doesn't say that. It says l'shoynis of gvura and umness. It sounds like Dachkevein l'ch shimshin agibor, like Daf Torah, this week's Daf Torah. Yeah, okay, Daf Torah. That was Daf Torah. Yeah, Daf Torah. Upon him, a gvura and umness. It requires strength. Does anybody look at Lego and say, wow, you see a kid, he played Lego the whole afternoon. You say, wow, that child, one day he's going to knock out all the Palestinians, just like Shimshon, he's mamish, with one whoosh, he's going to, you don't see such a thing. A child plays Lego. The whole matzias of a toy that a child plays with is mufka from Gvur of Umnis. In its surah, again, if Gvur and Umnis, it's a lot of strength, then we can talk. It's not there's a kosiv. It's a lumdis that when do I see there's an echadkeit, there's a oneness to this item. So therefore, Gvur and Umnis is that's nisht. Do you want to know, is it hiddik? So first of all, now you realize, Lafid Chazanish, which we don't know them, but just what's our starting point? Lafid Chazanish, any hiddik that can't come to tekiya is mutter. That means in Bnei Brak, right? In Bnei Brak, you might not be able to have a blech, but in Bnei Brak, play Lego instead, right? In Bnei Brak, you can play Lego instead. No, I'm saying it comes out that in Bnei Brak, you can play Lego instead. So because in Bnei Brak, the whole shadow doesn't start. The shadow fight took nishtan. Okay, let's go fight again. First of all, maybe it's Kisi Kalim. Second of all, maybe it's Hidduk. Third of all, okay, Chedushim, this is a Chiddush. I don't usually say Chedushim, but I just the covered, the last day of when you don't say Tachanun and Shluis, that means that the Haros of Shluis and Kabbalah Torah are still here, So it's the last day. So that means we're still in the realm of Chedushay Torah and Kabbalah Torah. So I was thinking, maybe this svar that I'm saying is actually so right. Maybe it's so right. Lego is mufka from Boina. The fight doesn't start the whole Shaila Boina. Boina means that I see a oneness over here because it's something that was put together and there's gvur and an omness. Maybe a toy is mufka from that. Maybe it's something that's a game that not because of the svara of made to be opened and closed. Not because the svara of to open and close. That's one svar. That's one svar. Now there's another svar. When you have a toy and you put it together and it's something that children play with, there might be another problem here, the false problem that might be here. But when you look at Lego and you want to know, is that something that there's what was the reason why Chazal made a gzeira of a hiddik? The idea of a hiddik is because hiddik is something that it's like you're seeing the entire last 2 weeks. It's very hard to be magdir when something will be hiddik and something will be tekeya. Sometimes it's hiddik, you're not sure, maybe it's tekeya. You see we had tzveikis about the shroif and whatnot. We're not sure when things are hiddik and tekeya. So what if you have something that it's mufka from the concept of tekiah, because it's something that kids play with. You can't look at it as something that's becoming one. It's a toy. It's a game. A game is not something that a person can see that there was a binyan that was created over here and it was created a oneness over here. It's a chiddush. That's not something that I would say as a lechatchila. But I don't know. You put that all together. Number one, you want to know, can kids play? Yeah, a kid could be saimach on these svaras. The child could be saimach on these svaras. Number two is you want to know, do I have to worry about menorah shel prakim? No, because like Rabbi Lieberman said, it's only the worst that can come is the dehidik, which is the Rabbana, not the Raisa. No, there's other issues. Falk said that if you're making a sculpture, you're not using the Lego. I mentioned this on day one. When you're not using it, you're just making it as a tzura. That could be kaisif. I don't know how you get out of that. And call it a game. Who cares? So the game is to draw a picture. I don't know how you get out of that. That's a very big time. Also, Stam said there might be a serum of oil, which we didn't learn oil yet. When you have a tefach of space and you make onto the roof, so that could be a problem of oil. But I don't know how you get out of kaisif. The only way you get out of kaisif is if you're not doing it for the purpose of a sculpture. You're doing it as a tachlis of using the item. That's what Rabbi Falk said in the sukkah, and that's a emes his father. What? So the kid asks you to help him, and he's lefi this. If he's actually gonna, if it's a sculpture, it's a problem. Okay, if it's not a sculpture, he's using it. So I don't know. I can't say it's us. I don't know if it's kedai for an adult to be playing with it. She's here. I don't think you should be playing with it on Shabbos. How old is she? Bas mitzvah? No, not kedai. What? Sorry? Oh, just one moment. I'm sorry. Ramosha doesn't talk about Lego per se, but in Hay, volume Hay, Shuva Chav Beis, in the 27th ois there, he says, like a klal, he says, if he's talking about building toys in general. He doesn't seem to go with what I'm saying, but he seems to say that it's not pashut, these building toys are usher. He doesn't seem to say why, and he's not talking about Lego. He says it's not an Issachar. I think we all agree it's not an Issachar. After what just went on here, it's not an Issachar. I think that's clear. It's not Issachar, maybe it's Rafoi, maybe it's Hiddik, maybe it's not, whatever. And then he says, so he says, you don't have to, it's interesting lashon there. He says, don't stop a child who's playing, but he says, don't give it to the kid. Interesting. I would have thought it could be make a even to give it to the kid. Ramosha sounds like don't give it to the kid. Ramosha's not bothered by muksa because Ramosha Shitasai holds items that a child plays with are not muksa. That's Ramosha Shitasai. We spoke out in this room very many times. Sorry? A puzzle also maybe might be Tali and Machlekes Rishonim, and it could be that it's Mechusah Kreva. There are Rishonim that might allow a puzzle. We hold it usher. Pashtus is that could you pass it to a kid? Lefi Ramosha, yes, because muksa it's not, and you don't have to stop him from playing. It's just interesting. Ramosha says, don't give the kid the Lego. Confused as far as that you have to. I don't know what toys Ramosha was talking about. I'm just saying the way we came out in Lego, I would have thought you could even hand it to the kid. That's what I would have thought. You could even hand it to the kid, but. Unless he's making a sculpture of sorts. I don't know. Sorry? It's a model. Yeah, a model. A model could be a problem. The only svar you have is Hiddik of the Chazon Ish. B'nai Brak is the only svar. Yeah, why wouldn't it be kaisiv though? Actually, no, Chamshi plays with it. No. He plays with it, right? You don't mind that I'm using it. No. Sorry? Wait, we can't be kaisiv or? They're very strong, yeah. I still don't think it's Gruv Omnus. So that comes apart. So maybe she said that everything comes. Yeah, no, that's Bechlal Stam bothered me in the Shmir Shabbos that he put everything and called it tekiah. I mean, he talks about clicks there. He got to talk about clicks. This is clicks. Rabbi Blumenthal, this is clicks. So let's see. What? Not so easy. What? Black pieces matter. What? No, you can do it? You're so strong? Let's see. Oh, tough guy. It's not going so smooth. Yeah. Huh? Wow. Now, you're bleeding. How come I have time? Again, to say it's Gvura Omnis. Oh, this one's broke. Did I just break it? I think I broke it. I'll pay for it, whoever it is. Even though it's hard for me because I just had to buy a broom. What? So it's the same idea. Basically, the grip is difficult. Very difficult. You say you can't get it out by going straight. I can't get it. It's very difficult. I can't get it even with this. How'd you get it? Wait, show me how you get it. What's the point? It's because you're so strong. You have the nails? Yeah, but then they could crack off. It's very thin, right? Who else could do it? It's very hard. No, I'm not crazy. But I'm what do you mean can't get it? I can't get it. So what do you squeeze? Oh, you squeeze it? What do you do by the round? I'm by the round part. I can't do it. What's he doing? Don't do the broken one. I think he did the broken. What did you do? What? I definitely think it's definitely Hiddick, and there's no question in the world, right? We'll get the magnets. Calm down, Shlomi. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. I know it's important to you, but what's the matter there? What? Okay, so I hear though. I guess you can't start saying this one, yeah, this one, no. Right. I don't know. You still have my scar that it's a toy, so maybe it's mufka. I don't know. Maybe it's a mufka. The only thing is, Rabbi said clicks. What difference between clicks and Lego? Clicks you leave around for a while. You know what I'm talking about? They make click. They make like these and sometimes they'll make like a chair and then they'll keep it around. They'll make like a Sefer Torah. They leave it around. No, you make all types of stuff. Yeah, and also when it falls on the floor, it doesn't break. Right? So it's definitely not a nourishal prakim. What? What's this? I don't even know what this is. What is this? This is not so hard to come out, but what? Waffles. And what's this? It's not magnets. It's garnish, no? What do you do? Here. This, if it fall on the floor, would probably break apart. Right? I don't want it. It looks like it'll crack also. Whose is it? What? Can I drop it on the floor? Whose is this? I can drop it on the floor? You want to ask the kid? Or you want yeah, these things are quite tight. Let's see. Yeah, it breaks apart. Breaks apart. It's broken for good. Do you guys love coming to Koilel? Wait. The log cabin. Lincoln logs are not really connected, right? It's probably roughly. It's probably mitnaneh bachur. It's probably mitnaneh bachur. Lincoln logs are probably mitnaneh bachur. But Lincoln logs is very important for Chamshi. Everyone could listen in. Lincoln logs. Lincoln logs. No. Right? What? I'm saying, but it's like a normal thing to leave it around. So you might have Kallus. It might be a sculpture. What? It is roughly, but Kallus. But you know, what? Wait, Tachlis, Rabbi said, if you ask me, Rabbi said, if you ask me, most of these things, these clicks or whatever, I would say that the adults should not be playing this on Shabbos. I guess you have to learn. I'm saying, what? Yeah, these are chedushim. I'm saying it's a chedushim. And maybe kisa kalim is only something that, like the Chazon Ish said, that the shimush is mechayev a piruk. It's not mechayev a piruk because there is a concept of a sculpture. It's true. What? Listen again. I mean, Rabbi Lieberman says you can't understand. How could you not say that it would be called broken Lego? It would be called broken clicks if it would not come apart. These are chedushim, Rabbi say. Right? Clicks is something that's definitely the derech to leave it around. So you can have clicks around for sure for a week, for 2 weeks. They made something incredible. Everyone knows when the kids make something with clicks, it's just like, so Grace is out, like I say for Torah, they're going to keep it around to show people and whatever. It's going to stay around for a couple of weeks, for sure. Sorry? But they'll leave it like that for a week. So it's something that stays around. oh, they're leaving it around, but that to be the minion form. That was the Chazon Ish said. We'll see soon by electricity. That's a Chazon Ish. That's something that when you put it together, it has that is a shiur. Putting it together is a certain binyan to it. Mashenkein Kisa Kalim is it's broken because I can't get my item out. You would lose one of the functions. Maybe it's like a mitah shel tasiyah. So then it's like a milchiyah. Then it's like a salt shaker. It's the same thing. You can ask on a salt shaker. No one buys a disposable salt shaker. So it's the same question you have on a salt shaker. Okay. I'm not that these stars are true. So I don't think you should play with them, but a child could play with them. I don't know why Rabbi says that you can't give it to a kid. I don't understand that. I would have thought, just a moment. I would have thought you can give it to the kid. I don't know. That's what I would have thought. I would have thought you can give it to the kid. Rabbi says not. So I know Rabbi wasn't talking about Legos. So Rabbi says don't give it to the kid, but it's not books. Adkan is this. Just two more things, and then I want to go to talk about the electricity. We got to get there today, but. Just two things. Interesting. I like that. I was looking in that book about Rafal. That not Rafal. That B'Shem Rafal. And over there they talk about glasses. Thought the mindset. We spoke about glasses when we learned Muksa. I'm not going to go into every case again, but just the way they talk about like this. He says over there from Rafal that if it's shayach tzkiya, meaning your glass is broken away, that it's shayach to pop it back in and to put it in tight. And it'll be a tzkiya. It'll be something which will require gvura and umnus to take out. Grounded glasses for sure is like that because it does require gvura and umnus to get out because you'd be afraid to break the glass. So that you can hear that you can have the glasses which are tight tzkiya. He says if it falls out and it's something that requires a tzkiya to put back in. So he says so not only is it obviously also to put back in, but it's also even in tiltal. It's also even in tiltal because it's not a menorah shel prakim. Obviously, it doesn't break all the time, but it's actually. Glasses fall on the floor. That's fun. But no, some of that. Well, not every time. Not every time. Okay, wait 1 second. So, anyways, one second. So he says there that if it's something that comes out, you won't even be able to metal to the glasses because we're afraid that you're gonna go and put it back in, which is exactly that we learned already. It's Pasha. But then he writes something that I understand. He says, but what if it's not shaykh tzkiya? Because the frame, sometimes let's say it fell out twice, 3 times, 4 times already. That means you have a problem with your glasses. It's not shaykh tzkiya. So he says, so then it's mutter. Then he says it's mutter. What happened? Then you can even pop it back in. And again, in that book, for some reason, he's not misyaches to hidik. I have no idea why. It's a pelam. Did you ask him or no? Why is he not misyaches to hidik? I don't know. Of course, it's also to put back in. It's at least hidik. Not roughly. It's at least hidik. So I don't know. I don't understand. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I don't know. He then says something else, which is important to speak out, which he says that if you have glasses, and they're bent out of shape. So it says, look, you're not allowed to bend them back into shape. That's probably a tikkun mana. And they mechalik, the achreinim mechalik, that if it's something that it was usable, but you're making it fabestering it. So then that's probably a tikkun derabbanan. Like, sometimes the glasses are bothering you by the ear and whatever. So you fix it a little bit or something. So that's probably not the rice, it's probably derabbanan. Because that's if it was usable. So you can't say you made mamash and knock in the pottage. You probably fabestered the item, maybe it's a tikkun mana. He writes there something interesting. He says, let's say I have glasses that get I think it's called wonky. No, I think it's wonky. It gets all wonked out of shape. So now it's wonky. Right? So now it's so wonky. It's like, like that guy, he's got like one up here and one down over there like that. So now you want to put it back into shape. He says, not only is that usher, which is probably even deraisa, he says, it's probably not allowed to wear the glasses because Gzeira, you'll come to do the tikkun deraisa. It's correct. Mustami is right. I never thought of that case. Maybe I said that case when we learned Muksa, but L'chayr is right. What? Oh, so if he used it like that before Shabbos, so then fine. So then we're not chayshish. He's going to do it. Right, he's right. Nutzi says it's again Nutzi. Like Nutzi wears it like that before Shabbos, right? So now we're not afraid that on Shabbos he's going to see that's his style during the week. Right? There are people like that. There are some people like that. Now, the last thing is that are you allowed to pop back into shape a hat? We spoke about all these things, but here's the mucker. You're allowed to pop a hat into place or a cup into place. Here, you have like a plastic cup that's what? It's okay, makapadish or whatever. Yeah, it's different levels here. Yeah, let's say I could break it. Are you okay with that? Yeah. So let's say it's like this. 1 minute. Yeah. Like this. Let's say it's like this, right? Let's go like that. Not mistaber, that's us. Mistaber, that's all there. That's all there. No, that doesn't bother me so much, But sometimes it's like a, Yehudim. Right? It's like this. And then you go into the garbage and and you look around and there's nobody looking, right? No, not like at the dish, like after the dish, right? And that's, so now this, I don't know, this already is, you're gonna say that that's already, what? There's like, that's why it's by Ger? Well, it's like a folding chair. It's all there in place. I don't know. He makes this case is aser. He says this case is aser. When it's totally whacked out of shape, he says it's aser. I'm not 100% convinced, because if I don't have to do anything, all I have to do is like go like that, right? I don't do anything really. You would put water in it. What? No, well, that's not true. That's not true. Well, just well. No, it will fall right out. It'll come right out. No, it'll come right out. I just wonder out loud. What? Why what? Okay, forget muksa. That's a different shmooze. Let's say. What if you did it on purpose? People put it. Well, it could be it's true. Dovi says it could be it's muksa. That's also true. It could be that if you didn't plan, but Adarab, comment that I would say it's normal to do. No, he says that it's normal where he comes from, like a folding chair. No, so a pack-in place oimid for that purpose, right? I hear Rabbi Nissenbaum. If I start by the Chassidus Bayich, this is normal. So again, in such a. Huh? Is it the same chevra that wear one glass up there and one down there? No, see? Huh? But no, but it's like, they keep it in the pocket. What do you mean like this? Like this. Such a great idea. That's a chayr that would be mutter then. No, what am I coming like, Fuke? By a hat. I mean, nobody wants me to do this to his hat, right? No. But I want to do it in a way where it's going to really be difficult. You have to work on it to get it back together again. By a hat, well, my hat's not doing that bad. I wouldn't want it to get that much. No, like a hat that just got bopped in like that or something, right? Just got bopped in, and all you have to do is bop it out. Just bop it out. That's about it, not a tick in. What? Yeah, no, that's something else. Huh? Right, but like this. You really don't mind? You really don't mind? What? I just said, is it worse? Look, what happens? Sometimes the guy just like, no, I'm just trying, you do it because I feel guilty. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes the guy he just accidentally goes, oh no, right? Okay, good. You just added it? Right, and even though I'm a little bit bigger than Levi, but let's see. So this. Now this. Is this going to be mutter on Shabbos? Just pop. The Shabbos, does it just pop? I don't know. You're a good Jew. Great. I don't know. It seems to be that Rafal says that if it's mamish something that you can't wear in this matziv, so, but I don't understand, because I can't wear this in this matziv either. I can't wear it like that. I can't wear that. It's pretty fair. And yet it pops back with the greatest of ease, right? Here. I hope so. No, it just pops back. It's garnished, right? It's nothing. I don't know. It could be. Not so bar to me. These things are aser. Not so bar. This is aser. I don't know. Not so bar. It's aser. What? Not so bar. It's aser. What? Sorry. Yeah. It comes a point where avada, it doesn't just pop. I'm just showing you that even when you sit on it, a lot of times it just pops, right? I'm not sure. What? Sorry? I was thinking maybe it's nechlo. We spoke back then. It might be nechlo in the gzeira folding when you're putting it onto its crease. So putting it back onto a crease. So bishlam, if it just pops, I'm not doing anything, just popping back. That's not a problem. If you have to much work on it, so that could be a problem. This is not a davar bar. So let's start the shiur now. Let's start the shiur. What? The hat I just had, nobody wears it. There. So I'm not even going to sit on it right here. No one wears a hat like that, Rabbi Singer, right? I can't even do it, right? No, even that, like interesting yeshiva ball, right? Yeah. Yeah, but it's still not like this, right? This is like a little bit mufka, right? Even for him, he can't get it on his head. No, you know what I'm saying? So no one wears it like this. So that also to do on Shabbos, to put it back, anything a path. I don't believe. What? No, he's using. I don't believe that that's also right. The end of my hat. Okay. Well, let's go back. We got to go back there. Rabbi said, okay, tachas. Now I'm starting the shiur. So now we'll go for an hour. I don't even believe where the time goes. It's Shamua, 4:43. What happened here? What happened? We didn't even say tachas. All right, let me give you akdama, and then because we got to go fight. Rabbi said we got to get to making holes on Shabbos and all these. Okay, let's get akdama here. Electricity. I'd like to break a lot of the cliches about the sugi of electricity. When I say cliches, I don't mean Khalila, like some of the things I'm going to say came from big people, but the way that the Welt says them over, and I don't know. Let's see. I'll give you an example. Chashmal came out over 100 years ago, way over 100 years ago, 130 years ago, whatever. It came nufetz about 100 years ago, about 110 years ago. And right away, everyone wants to know, now, am I allowed to turn on electricity on Shabbos? There's two different shilas. Obviously, there's one shilah when I'm turning on electricity, which is going to make an electric current, which is going to turn on a red hot fire, like an incandescent bulb. And that the Kuli Alma is going to do a vara. Forget the question of the electricity. If I blow something and it blows a fire, you're over an avara. So call electricity pickle juice. It doesn't matter what you call it. But if you're being mafil a fire, the electricity, so that one no one was nervous about. No, nobody was mistapic about. That was no shayla. If you take electricity, you turn it turns on an incandescent bulb. Or for example, today, the new fridges, right? The new fridges that weren't, the digital fridges and everything. There's about 53 chilulei Shabbos if you don't have some type of a kosher Shabbos mode. Why? Just the smallest chilul Shabbos is every one of them. When you open it, it has a timer which turns on a defroster. In the fridge, it's an automatic defroster. That's a heating element. That's a red hot heating element in there that goes on when you open up a door. So I'm just giving you musagim that no one has a suffix about that. That's electricity, which is being mafil of fire, and that we're not talking about. That's Chaim Moshe. Everyone knows Chaim Moshe made Barimer Eish on a light bulb. Again, I'm not talking about the fluorescent light bulbs and the LED light bulbs, the LED light bulbs. I'm talking about specifically right now the incandescent, which was it's a piece of metal which gets to 4,000 degrees. Chaim Moshe said that's an eish, and you can make on a barimer eish. You bedafka made a doll on it in order to develop that such a thing is a barimer eish. Okay, this whole shaila we learned when we learned Havdalah, right? How many shiurim on that did I give? There'll be like on that specific shot, maybe 30, right? It's not so budget. You couldn't make Havdalah on it, on the barimer eish on it. But Chaim Moshe was trying to devise, and that's an undership. Not for now. What we're talking about is electricity, l'tachlis electricity. They're turning on a fan, electricity turning on an AC, right? Just the actual electric current, which has the ability to be mafil products and things, nothing to do with fire, And to make electricity, to turn on, to be mafil, a current or something. What's the essence? And b'chlal, what am I talking about it now for? Why would I all of a sudden in the middle of a shiur get up at the beginning of a shiur? Why would I start talking all of a sudden about this? We just learned baina. Why now would I talk about electricity? That's the shayla. So the Maisa, Shlomo Zalman even says many of the Gedolim of 100 years ago, they didn't even know the Metzias properly. There's an Aruch HaShulchan in a sefer called Beis Vad. It was like a kuntris that came out 120 years ago, 110 years ago. And they asked the Aruch HaShulchan about turning on electricity, turning on a light on Yontif. Turning on light. Aruch HaShulchan writes over there, I'm not so clear what the Metzias is, but kafi my understanding, the Metzias is no problem turning on a light. It explains why. He says, because inside there's a fire. So just like on a regular yontif, you got to take a fire from one fire and take it with a match and bring it over to turn on another fire. The answer is yes. You're allowed to turn on a stovetop with a pilot light. You're allowed to turn it on because it's just sucking the fire from there and it's mafil the fire over there. So he said, so what's electricity? Kafi my havana, which he writes, I'm not sure if my havana is right. He says there's a fire in there, and all you're doing when you're turning it on is you're bringing the fire to over here. And then the fire goes now into, whatever, and turns on the light, but the fire was already there. Shlomo Zalman says, Aruch HaShulchan himself said, he didn't understand electricity, and he was right. It's not the Metzias. There was no little fire inside there. There's no little guy in there digging coals and everything, and there's no such thing. What was the Metzias? So a lot of the Gedolim back then, this is 100 years ago, They didn't know what was going on with electricity, and then some gedolim write all types of interesting things because of that. So you have to, the Beis Yitzchak, he in Beis Lamed Aleph, he says, okay, but one thing for sure, I don't know what this thing is, but it's at least like moiled reyach. I mean, if you can't take perfume and put it onto a clothing, onto a sheitel and whatnot, because you're giving it a new chshivas, a new, that's called the moiled reyach. You can't take perfume and put it on a baggage. You can't take perfume and put it on a sheitel. So that's a moiled reyach. Everyone knows it's a shaila of noilad and moiled, and that's all when it's a noilad of a grama. It happens on its own. The ice that's made on Shabbos. You're allowed to make ice. That's a shaila. That's a noila, that's grama, that happens on its own, and that's a fight. That's a machlekes, we're machmir, l'chatchila, we're makel, but okay. But when you're not allowed, for example, on Shabbos to make whipped cream, because that's a ma'aseh b'yadayim. You're not allowed to take ice and smash it up, because you're going from liquid to solid, or from solid to liquid. That you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to smash up ice into a liquid on Shabbos. That's mefershim halacha, because you're doing a ma'aseh b'yadayim. So says the Beis Yitzchak, that was Rabbi Yitzchak Shmelkes, he was of the Gdolei Ador. He says electricity, whatever this thing is, it's at least moiled. It's at least moiled. Immediately, you're turning this air conditioning on. The air conditioning didn't have a current. You're enabling this current. So it's at least moiled. Oh, that's what he writes. That's very important to know. Is there an opposite malacha of moiled? Not familiar, right? So then it'll turn out that you could turn off the air conditioning if that would be your only isser. That'd be your only isser. So you have to know, is there any other isser? This was so just like, let me give you a bit of a background over here. The Achiezer, he says in Daled Vav, it's noilad. He says it's at least noilad. You have to say it's noilad. Shalom Zalman, he was 24 years old. I used to say he's 28. It seems I was wrong. It seems he was 24 years old. He's 24 years old. Here's Maisa, Peldik Maisa. No, Peldik is up. How old are you? Rabbi Chodi, how old are you? How old are you? Oh, there's no hope anymore. Rabbi Leibovitz, how old are you? 20, no hope. Rabbi Greenberg, how old are you? Oh, there's hope. There's still hope, Baruch Hashem. There's still hope. Okay, Baruch Hashem. There's still hope. There's still hope. He was 24 years old, and he wrote the most authoritative work on electricity ever written, and will ever probably be written. Unbelievable. He's 24 years old. He wrote it. Chaim Oizer took a look at it, and he said, don't know, it's why you have to write all this stuff to explain why to turn on a light is us. He showed him one kuntris of the whole book. And you wrote a whole kuntris over here about turning on a light that it's us, it's for sure. So, but I see you went through the whole sugya, right? And then he turned to the person next to him. He said, whoever he is, he's for sure going to be one of the Gedolei Yisrael one day. That's what Chaim Oizer said about Shalom Zaman. He was 24 years old. And he wrote a maskama in his book. So he wrote a whole ganze book called Moira Eish over there. And he writes in page 516, now they printed it in like 2 nice volumes, 3 nice volumes. In page 516, he writes over there, look, even if I want to say maybe it's not even noilet, it's not even anything, but kfar hoira zaken, this Canaan already were moira. They were already moira that what? That electricity is at least moiled. It's at least moiled. Which, like I said, so then there's no opposite malach of moiled. That's adkan. So no one can come along and say electricity is mutter. And Chaim Oizer, they already said that it's an isser of moiled. Now, let's start for a moment. I won't go into this far because it's late, but it's very interesting. It's very interesting. The Tzitz Eliezer, and a lot of people say this. They say that they came along, no one even dreamed of a tzad of boina. That's what they say. We're going to talk that the whole nidin of what we learned the last few days, Rafui and Tekiah and everything, it looks like we'll get there tomorrow, is a whole nidin about is electricity, is it boina, totally is if it's Rafui, Tekiah. No one dreamed of that. Rabbi Yitzchak Shmelkes, the Gadol Adar, Rabbi Chaim Oizer, they talked about Moiled. Shlomo Zalman, he was 24 years old. He wrote this. He wrote it again. When he was 37, he put it out again. He had over there an entire chapter. This I saw in the 518. He must have really liked this because he writes it in the 518th page. It's very hard to find things with the Steve Cottons. That's why I'm saying the pages. In 518 and 866, he writes this twice. And he brings over there a Haggah from Shmuel Orbach, who says this. He says, my father had a chapter, which now they bring in the new one. My father had a whole chapter that he wrote originally, is electricity boina or not boina? And then he brought it to the Gdolei Yerushalayim, the book, and they said, don't print that chapter. Because it's not again, no one has a havamina of that electricity is boina, so why you stop? Why are you printing the chapter, Bichlal? So he took out the chapter. Then he was 37 years old. And he saw that the Chazon Ish already was starting to say it's baina. So then they decided to bring back that chapter. But the Tzitz Eliezer writes seemingly something which I see a lot of people say. They say like this. They say the Tzitz Eliezer is in the 19th volume, in the 9th tshuva. He says, no one dreamed. You have to remember before we start talking about this again. No one dreamed that electricity could be baina. It wasn't like the discussion b'chal. Chaim Oizer wasn't discussion b'chal. Yitzchak Shmelkes wasn't discussion. Shlomo Zalman was Adkan. He says that means that there were 50, 60 years until when electricity was out. Let's say it came out 1900 or I don't know 1890s or whatever until 1940 when the Chazon Ish wrote about it. The 40s, the 50s when the Chazon Ish wrote about it. It was nifter in 54 the Chazon Ish. So when he wrote it, that means there were 30, 40 years. No one dreamed it's baina. That's what a lot of people say. This to me is a tema rabbah. People say this like it's Aseret Dibros. I've had that if it was, I'm not arguing on the Tzitz Eliezer, but some people say it. I don't think even the Tzitz Eliezer, when you see inside, he wasn't saying it with so much authority. It's so tamua, I can't masig it. I can't masig it. Mamish can't masig it. First of all, Rav Moshe, Milan Gadol Rav Moshe, there's nobody bigger than Rav Moshe. Rav Moshe has 2 or 3 tshuvas about this in Daled Pei Daled. And Rav Moshe was not scared of anyone except for the Halachos of Bishul. No one else, right? There was no masti punning by Rav Moshe. There's no masti punning by Rav Moshe. And Rav Moshe in Daled Pei Daled, in Pei Hey, in Gimel Mem Beis, he says electricity is not borrowed with the Isser is, maybe boina, maybe makeh b'patish, maybe not at all in Isser deraisa, maybe I thought that there was a tzad gadol by everybody that it was boina. What are you going to say? That for 40, 50 years, no one done boina. So let's go back again. 50 years beforehand, the Aruch HaShulchan thought it was fire inside a wire that you were allowed on Yontif to turn it on. They didn't know the Metzias B'chal. The Pasha didn't know the Metzias B'chal. The Beit Yitzchak, you see over there, he quasi-epis through the Metzias. Not so clear. Until Chaim Oizer, most of the Gedolim didn't really chop the Metzias. So they didn't don boina. That's a kasha. What's a kasha? The first one that had a clarity in what the Metzias was the Chazon Ish. That's a kasha. And you know what? Rosh Shlomo Zalman did have a whole chapter why it's boina or not boina. He held it's not boina. But whether it was a nidin, and you know what else? For 20 years or 30 years in Klal Yisrael, the world was in fire. The world was upside down and inside out from the year Chves, from 1915 all the way to 1945. The world was in fire. Kimat no tshuvas in those years. Go look around. All the great tshuva writers, the Marshag, the great Hungarian writer, the Shalom Meshiv was way before that in the 1800s, but the Marshag was by 1900 Baruch. The Marsham was in the late 1800s. Where the great tshuva writers of the 1920s and 30s, you know where they were? They were running for their lives. They were running for their lives. They're mamish running for their lives. You know why the Rogatchover, he writes ayin. You would also write like that if there were Nazis at the door, right? He didn't have time to write. What do you mean? They didn't write. How could anybody say that? It's mufka from the Metzias. So you want to know why no one came out? There's no tshuvas from those years about electricity. So Mamela, there's not a kasha. And Bichlal, everyone just held electricity is aser. So the Nidayanim weren't as the first one to dan the Shiloh with Allah Metzias and everything was the Halachos Chazon Ish. So how can anybody come along and say, people say this like the Aseret Dibros, that nobody after the Chazon Ish, what do you mean? After the Chazon Ish, there's not an Achron in the world that didn't dan the Shiloh Mitzad Boina because of the Chazon Ish. So then you see, Rav Guvre, he caused everybody to dan the Shiloh. And before the Chazon Ish, so again, like I said, Rosh Shlomo Zalman, who Epis knew the Metzias, did dan the Shiloh Boina. He did dan the Shiloh Boina. And the other Achronim, most of them didn't know the Metzias, and the other ones just were running away from bad guys. So what I don't understand. It bothers me so much because people write like that's the starting point of the sugya by most people. When you hear it like that, if I would come in today and I'd say the shiur like this, to tomorrow I'm going to say a shiur. But if I would come in and say, if I say, one thing we know it's not. I was once in a shiur, I was a little boy like this big, but I was already this big. And the person gave a shiur and he said, one thing bivadei that electricity isn't is boina. That's for sure not. Why? Because all the gedolim held not like the Chazon Ish. Except for the Chazon Ish. It was, imagine what damage that could do to a young, impressionable person when it's so mufka from the Metzias and it's mufka from Metzias. The Chazon Ish once said like this: if you make a mistake in halacha, it's ein zach. Everybody's normal, everyone's human, right? But if you make a mistake in Metzinas, there's no excuse. You had no right to dan the Shiloh. You have no right to dan the Shiloh, right? So to say such a statement when Rav Moshe Moshe, the biggest who lived in the ganze world, Moshe. In the world that Moshe lived in, there was nobody bigger than Moshe. And he says, Ulai Baina, Ulai Makabeh Patish. Now, you'll see, we'll talk tomorrow. What is it? And there are kashas on the Chazon Ish. I'm just saying, but you have to have a starting point, which is not the starting point that is taken and developed, like Kilu, the Chazon Ish was Machadash Baina. What does it have to do with Baina? What does it have to do with Baina? This is the need to know for electricity. Is it Baina? Is it not Baina? That's the need. And so tomorrow, I guess we'll have to what's it called? All right, everybody should collect their toys. Collect their toys. Say hi to Matis. He's a bacher in America.
Remember that guy who was hacking off electricity?
But you didn't say hi to Matis. What? That's right. Remember that guy? We had to tell him he's too good for the Shiur.
Well, that guy in London. That's what I came to say. I've been with engineer. I've been with NASA.
No, you remember we had to tell him he's too good for the Shiur. That was great. I'll talk to you in 1 second about that. Wave Matis. He's a bacher in America. Wave at Matis. Micha, I think she's engaged. They're just not telling you. Find out, because I wanted to announce it. I'm not going to announce it until you tell me, but I think she's engaged. It doesn't want me to say, so I won't say. Call to Rabbi Fiskis. Say also. Sachi, I'll see you soon. Danny, I love you.